Have you ever looked around and felt like you didn't belong, not just in the room you were in or the city you live in, but in the whole world? Have you ever had a quiet ache in your heart that didn't come from sadness or loss, but from something deeper, something you couldn't quite explain? Maybe you felt it late at night, staring at the stars. Maybe you felt it in the middle of a crowd, even when everyone else seemed perfectly happy. It's not loneliness. It's not depression. It's not because something's wrong with you. It's something older, something you've carried since before you were even born. A soft, mysterious feeling that whispers, "You didn't come from here." You're not the only one who has felt that. Many people throughout history, across different cultures and continents, have described that exact same feeling, a deep, unshakable sense that this world is not their real home. Some have spent sleepless nights wondering why they feel so different. Some have tried to speak about it, only to be told, "It's just a phase," or "You need to be more realistic." But inside, the feeling doesn't go away. It lingers, quietly calling your attention. And the truth is, it has a name. This deep ache that you feel, this longing that doesn't have a face or a shape, is something called soul longing. It is the inner memory of your soul trying to remind you of something you once knew. It is the invisible thread that pulls you towards something beyond this world. Ancient thinkers understood this feeling long before modern language tried to explain it. Philosophers in ancient Greece wrote about it. Mystics in the mountains of Tibet recognized it. Indigenous healers in sacred ceremonies could sense it. Even some scientists today are beginning to study children who speak clearly of past lives or places they have never been in this lifetime. These are not stories made up to feel special. These are signs that something sacred is being remembered. From the very beginning, human beings have looked up at the stars and silently asked, "Where do I really come from?" And they didn't mean their hometown or family tree. They meant something much deeper. They meant the part of themselves that could not be explained by blood or body. That part behind their eyes, the part that watches, feels, dreams, hopes, loves, and aches. That part that doesn't age and doesn't die in the way the body does. That part, your soul, is what many ancient spiritual traditions say did not begin on earth. It came from somewhere else, somewhere higher, somewhere softer, more peaceful, and more real than anything this world can offer. Different cultures, with different words and stories, all say something similar. We are not just human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human one. Our souls come from a higher realm, a place beyond time and pain, where everything is one, everything is whole. And yet, for reasons we may not fully understand, we chose to come here. Or maybe we were sent. Either way, we arrived in this world with a task to complete, a lesson to learn, or a light to share. In Hermetic philosophy, an ancient spiritual tradition that grew in Egypt, they spoke about the creation of two worlds. First, there was the ideal, invisible world, created from divine thought, a world of beauty, harmony, and perfection. Then came the physical world, dense, heavy, flawed, and filled with challenges. According to Hermetic teachings, the human soul comes from that first world. It is a spark of the divine, trapped in a body, experiencing life on earth to grow, to learn, and eventually to remember where it came from. In those teachings, true wisdom is not about gathering new information. It is about remembering what has always been inside you. The Gnostics, another ancient spiritual group, took this idea even further. They believed that this world was built by an imperfect creator, not the true God. To them, the earth was a place of illusion and suffering, and the soul was like a prisoner who had forgotten its way home. The Gnostics believed that the soul had been torn from divine light and cast down into a world of shadows, and that awakening, real spiritual awakening, was the moment you realized this and began the journey back to the source. So if you have ever felt like you don't belong, like you were made for something higher, like you remember something beautiful that you can't quite describe, that is not a mistake. That is not weakness. That is your soul waking up. Eastern traditions also speak of this in their own way. In Hinduism, the soul is called Atman, and it is believed to be eternal, never born and never dying. It is a part of the divine itself. But the soul is trapped in a cycle of rebirth, birth after birth, lifetime after lifetime, forgetting again and again where it came from. That cycle is called samsara, and the goal is to break free from it. That freedom is called moksha. It is not just escape, it is return. Return to divine unity, to peace, to truth, to home. In Buddhism, even though the idea of a permanent soul is not used in the same way, there is still a deep understanding that the self we think we are is an illusion, and that behind all the suffering, there is a silent awareness longing to be free. Enlightenment, or nirvana, is the moment you stop chasing illusions and return to stillness, return to home. All of these paths, across centuries and continents, are pointing to the same thing. We are not from here. We are travelers. Our souls came from a higher realm, and this world, this earth, this life is a temporary stop, a place where we grow through challenge, love through loss, and remember through forgetting. It's like being taken from your real home and placed in a land where the rules are different. The language is strange, and nothing feels quite right. You try to adapt. You smile. You work. You build a life. But somewhere deep inside, something always feels out of place. That feeling is not an error. It is a message, a reminder. Plato, one of the greatest philosophers in ancient Greece, also spoke of this. He said that our souls come from a perfect realm, a place where truth, beauty, and goodness live forever. But somehow, we ended up here, in a world of shadows, change, and confusion. He said the body is like a tomb that traps the soul, and that real knowledge is remembering what we've forgotten, remembering where we came from and why we're here. Many ancient teachings echo this same idea, that the soul is exiled, far from home, trying to find its way back. In Jewish mysticism, there's a story about divine sparks that fell into the world and became trapped in matter. These sparks are our souls, and they are trying to return to the divine flame. In Sufism, the mystical side of Islam, the soul is described as a lover who has been separated from the beloved. The soul cries in silence, longing to return to the one it remembers but cannot see. That feeling of longing, of missing something you've never seen, that is the soul remembering love. Sometimes, this feeling comes quietly, Maybe it comes when you're alone. Maybe in the middle of a joyful moment, a wave of sadness rises without warning. Maybe it comes when you wake up from a dream that felt more real than life. It doesn't have a shape. It doesn't have a clear message, but it's there. A pull, a call, a memory without words. And it lives in almost everyone, whether they speak of it or not. Some say this feeling is a sign of something awakening inside us. Hermetic teachings say that truth is not outside you. It is buried inside, waiting to be remembered. Psychology has even touched on this. Carl Jung, a famous thinker, spoke of the collective unconscious, a deep layer of the mind where ancient memories and patterns live. He didn't call it a soul, but he believed there is something deep inside all of us that connects us to each other and to something greater. But if we really came from a place of light and truth, why don't we remember it clearly? This is one of the oldest spiritual questions. And the answer, repeated in many different teachings, is that we forget because we must. Forgetting is not a mistake. It is part of the journey. This world is a place of learning, and to truly learn, we have to be fully here. If we remembered everything about where we came from, it would be too painful to live in this world of suffering and separation. We would not be able to focus on the life we've been given. In Greek mythology, there's a river called Lethe. Souls who were about to be reborn had to drink from it to forget their past lives. Only after forgetting could they enter a new body and live a new life. In Hindu and Buddhist teachings, the forgetting is part of the cycle of birth and death. Each time we are born, we forget the last life. And with each forgetting, we experience this world as if it's the only one. This creates the illusion that we are just this body, just this personality. But the soul is always more than that. And spiritual practice, whether it is prayer, meditation, dreaming, silence, or stillness, is how we slowly remember. Even now, more people are beginning to speak about this feeling in new ways. Some call themselves starseeds, souls that they believe didn't start on Earth, but came from other stars or higher realms. They feel like they were born here to help, to bring healing, to guide others. These souls often feel different from childhood. They are deeply sensitive, struggle to fit into normal systems, question everything, care deeply about others, and long to make the world better. The idea may sound strange to some, but it is not new. The language has changed, but the longing has always been the same. Feeling like you don't belong doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It may mean your soul remembers something your mind can't explain. It may mean that you came here for a reason, that you are here to bring light into the world, even if it doesn't always feel like it. And maybe that quiet ache inside your chest is not pain. It's your soul gently trying to guide you back to truth, back to love, back to home. Let that feeling speak. Let it soften you. Let it remind you that you are more than this world, more than your fears, more than your struggles. You are a traveler from a higher place, learning through this life, growing through this pain, and slowly remembering the light you have always carried inside. Some people are born into this world feeling like they don't fully belong. It's not because something is wrong with them, but because they're sensitive to something deeper. They sense that the world, as it is, doesn't reflect the truth they carry inside. These people, often called spiritual outsiders, quietly carry a longing to heal, uplift, or bring change to the world around them. They may not understand why they feel this way, but deep down, something urges them to help make things better, more loving, more awake. In different spiritual traditions, this deep sense of not belonging is seen as a sign of awakening. In Gnosticism, when someone remembers their divine origin, they become a vessel for inner wisdom, called gnosis, that helps others free themselves from the illusion of the material world. They don't force anything on others. They simply radiate a presence that makes people feel more connected, more alive. Hermetic teachings say that those who know the truth of divine unity don't preach it. They live it. Their way of being becomes the message. Their kindness, their patience, their quiet strength. These are the ways they teach. In Mahayana Buddhism, a bodhisattva is someone who could reach full enlightenment and leave behind the cycle of suffering, but chooses to stay. They stay to help others find the path. They choose service over escape. Their compassion becomes their purpose. In modern beliefs like starseed teachings, some souls are said to come from other realms to help raise Earth's energy. They often feel different, out of place, or emotionally heavy, but they came here to bring light, even in small, quiet ways. By being kind, creating beauty, and living with integrity, they raise the energy of the planet. They often work in silence, bringing calm in chaos and love in spaces that feel cold. But carrying a mission like this doesn't mean life is easy. Most spiritual outsiders feel deep loneliness, confusion, or pain. They struggle to find their place. They may feel invisible or misunderstood. Their journey is not loud or glamorous. It's quiet, inward, and often filled with doubt. But this pain becomes the path. The discomfort becomes the very reason they grow. And with time, they begin to understand that transforming the world doesn't mean doing something huge. It starts with choosing love, speaking truth, and staying soft in a hard world. It begins with small acts of goodness when no one is watching. The feeling of not belonging can be heavy, but many spiritual teachings say that it is the beginning of awakening. Awakening isn't about learning something new. It's about seeing what was always there. It means realizing life is more than surviving, achieving, or fitting in. It's about turning inward and remembering who you are. It's about discovering that you are more than your name, your body, or your role. You are something eternal, something sacred. Spiritual traditions around the world speak of this return to self. In Hermeticism, awakening comes from looking inward and seeing past the illusions of the material world. In Buddhism, meditation helps you release attachments and become aware of the present moment. In Hinduism, the path of Jnana Yoga asks, "Who am I?" again and again, until all false identities fall away and what remains is the truth. You are one with everything. Some use lucid dreams or breathwork to explore their consciousness. Others simply sit in silence and reconnect with their spirit. These practices are all ways to come home, not to a place, but to a state of being. The truth is, awakening is for anyone. You don't have to be special. You just have to be willing to look inside. No matter how far you feel from your spiritual home, the way back begins when you stop searching outside and start listening within. Many people look for home in other people, in places, in success or love. But most spiritual paths say the same thing. Home is not somewhere else. It's a state of consciousness. It's already inside you. Hinduism says that the soul was never separate, it only believed it was. Buddhism says that enlightenment is not about reaching another world, but about letting go of suffering. Christian mystics say that the kingdom of God is within. Sufism speaks of losing the ego and awakening to divine love in this very moment. They all point to the same truth. The more you search outward, the more restless you feel. But when you turn inward and open your awareness, you realize that you were never lost. And when you realize that, everything changes. You stop expecting others to fix you. You stop needing the outside world to give you peace. You begin to live from a place of quiet knowing. You face the same life, the same problems, but with a different heart. You discover a space inside you that doesn't depend on anything outside. That space is your true home. Even with this awareness, the path isn't easy. Spiritual awakening often brings deep emotional pain. You may feel like your old life is falling apart. What once gave you joy may feel empty. You may feel lost in a world that no longer makes sense. This is part of the process. Many call it the dark night of the soul. It's when your soul lets go of what no longer fits. It's painful, but it's not the end. It's the clearing before the new life begins. In this space of emptiness, the heart begins to expand. You learn patience. You learn trust. You learn to sit with your own soul. In these moments, it's easy to feel alone. But even the loneliness has a purpose. It teaches you how to listen to your inner voice. It shows you how strong you really are. It pushes you to grow in ways you never imagined. And one day, you realize that the very thing that made you feel like you didn't belong has become your strength. The ache has become your guide. The homesickness has become your map. You begin to carry home inside you. There are simple things you can do to stay grounded on this path. Sit with your own silence. Let solitude become your teacher. Be present. Breathe deeply. Slow down. Treat each day as sacred. Instead of chasing a big mission, look for small ways to bring kindness into the world. Ask yourself, how can I serve today, even in a small way? Care for your body. Eat well. Sleep deeply. Move gently. Take time to connect with nature. These simple things will help you feel more at home inside yourself. The truth is, you don't need to escape the world to return home. You can walk through this life fully present and fully awake. Earth, with all its struggles and beauty, is part of your journey. Your soul came here not to run away, but to remember. And every time you choose love over fear, peace over chaos, truth over illusion, you come closer, not to a distant place, but to a deeper you. You may always feel a little different, a little outside, but that's okay. That difference is your gift. It's the doorway to your purpose. And as you walk this path with open eyes and an open heart, you are not just someone searching for home. You are someone who is becoming it. Quietly, gently, powerfully. With every step, you bring the light of home into the world around you. And in doing so, you remind others that they can return too.